All right, so let's start out off graphing an inequality that's pretty straightforward, which is y is greater than 3 halves x plus 1. So remember what we do, we graph the line y equals 3 halves x plus 1. What is the y-intercept of this line? 1. And the slope 3 up 1, 2, 3 and right 2, and I'll put another dot. Okay. Now the line is going to look something like that. But we have the inequality. So we have to decide on the inequality whether or not we make a solid line or a dashed line. So do we make a solid line or a dashed line on this one? Dashed. Why do you know this one should be a dashed? Because there's not a line under the inequality that means equal to, so we got to make the dashed line. I think that makes a dashed line. There we go. Okay. Now, since we have an inequality, we also have to shade. Now we have to decide which side of this plane to shade. So our XY plane is divided into two pieces now, one side above the dash line, one side below the dash line. We need to shade one of those sides. So there are a couple of ways to figure out which side to shade. One way would be to notice that this inequality says all my y values that are greater than the line 3 halves x plus 1 cues me to shade the upper half of this plane. But we can always algebraically check a point in the lower half of the plane or in the upper half of the plane to see if it meets our inequality. The easiest point to check is 0, 0, and my line does not go through 0, 0, so that'll be a good point to check. So I'm going to check is 0, 0 in my inequality. So in my original inequality, I'll put in y is 0. So is 0 greater than 3 halves times x of 0 plus 1? Oh, is 0 greater than 1? No. So we do not shade the side with the origin, which means I'm going to shade above this line. And let me get my handy dandy shading tool. We'll go for stars. And you, of course, don't have to shade with stars. You could shade with smiley faces or whatever you want to shade with. But anyway, there's my shading. I think it's my favorite part of the smartboard is the shading option with the smiley faces or the stars or the whatevers. Okay. Next. Unimpressed, I can tell. Okay. Restaurant has only 15 eggs to last until the next delivery. That's not a lot, especially if they're doing breakfast and they're a busy restaurant. An order of scrambled egg requires 2 eggs. An omelet requires 3 eggs. Write an inequality to model all possible combinations of orders of scrambled eggs and omelets the restaurant can fill till more eggs arrive. Oh, how exciting. Okay. So we got 15 eggs. And first thing I need to do is figure out what my variables are. Because I've got, I think I've got an XY plane to graph on, and I got to figure out what's going to vary in this problem. Yes, ma'am? So you're getting 2x plus 3y and less than or equal to 15. Go in the right direction. Yeah. So why did you choose 2x plus 3y? Oh, sorry. Jeez. 2x plus 3y is less than or equal to 15. Why did you choose 2x plus 3y? So they're not equal, so the variables can't be the same. So what is x? X is a number of orders of scrambled eggs. That's what's going to vary here is how many scrambled egg orders we do. So I'm going to put scrambled here on the x-axis. Okay, what is y? Omelets. So the omelets is my other variable that I can make, no more omelets. I can make one more omelet, two more omelets. And then why the 15? So the total number of eggs doesn't vary. It's not a variable. That's got to be my constant. And my rates are 2 and 3. Okay. How do I graph this? What's the easiest way to What's the easiest way to graph when you have your equation written in standard form? Yes. Yeah, easiest way in standard form would be to find the x and y intercepts. So my x-intercept, make the y 0. My x-intercept, you solve 2x equals 15, and x is 15 halves, or 7.5. X-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. My y-intercept is going to be make the x 0, and you get 3y is equal to 15. So y is 15 divided by 3, or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my y-intercept. I should make a line. And I'm going to make a solid line this time because it was a less than or equal to. And should I be shading above that line or below that line? Below that line. So you could test the point 0, 0. 0 plus 0, is that less than or equal to 15? Yeah, so the 0, 0 should be in my shading. And I'm not going to shade below the x-axis and to the left of the y-axis. So it makes no sense to make negative orders. Tie-dye? Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So there's my graph. It turns out kind of plaid-ish looking. I kind of like it though. It's kind of pretty. We could do spray can if we were kind of bored. The flowers. What about smiley faces? Come on, smiley faces. We're making eggs. Yeah, smiley faces. Okay, that's enough of that. Work on your homework.